Hello again, and welcome to tonight's webinar, Building Case Acceptance with Smile Design Solutions. This will be a podcast format where we'll be talking with special guests tonight, Dr. Peter Harnoy and Ali Owen. Hey, some general housekeeping rules as we're letting people come in and join us. This event will be 1 hour. It is an interactive podcast format. So we will be interacting with our guests. As you can see them here on the screen. We'll try our best to provide time during the webinar as we interact with our guests to answer questions. All participants will be muted throughout the webinar. If you have a question, there's a section called Q&A. Just type that question in and I'm going to respond to those questions as we move through the webinar. Also, I want to let you know that this is being recorded. So we will be posting this on the DenMat website for further review, and you will certainly see it in other opportunities out in cyber world. So again, my name is Barry Trexler. I'm an Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing here at DenMat, and it is my pleasure to host this event for you. This is one of my favorite topics and something that I've worked with practices over the years in my time in dentistry. Treatment acceptance will always be a major pain point for practices. Tonight, we speak with Dr. Peter Harnoy of Hinsdale Dental in the Chicago area and Ali Owen, the practice administrator for Hillcrest Dental in Las Vegas. Both will have unique perspectives on how smile design, in particular, the smile design with the Lumi Smile app, mobile app, has increased treatment acceptance in their practice. The Lumi Smile mobile smile design application is included with the Smile Discovery program and can be purchased separately by any practice wanting to increase treatment acceptance. We'll also spend time with Aaron Tuck. Aaron is our program lead for the Smile Discovery program. Aaron will be providing another perspective on case acceptance with the Lumi Smile app as he speaks to all of our SDP members. Many of those members are here in attendance tonight. He'll also talk about the most unique benefits of the SDP program. Finally, not to forget this, we are giving away an Apple HomePod. I hear this is the really, really cool thing, really great sound. If you like music like I do, you're really going to enjoy it. So we're giving away to one lucky attendee. What we ask is that you participate in the entire webinar so you don't miss an opportunity to learn. And we will draw from the registrant pool and inform the winner post-webinar. So pretty cool. So with that, why don't we get started? I'm going to introduce Dr. Peter Harnoy. Dr. Peter Harnoy has been practicing general and aesthetic dentistry in Hinsdale, Illinois for over 39 years. With a passion for aesthetic and minimally invasive dentistry, he has seated, listen to this, more than 5,000 veneers. Is that right, Dr. Harnoy? More than 5,000 veneers to date.
Since we started the art process in 2013, Barry, yes.
That is amazing. He is the president of the Illinois chapter of the American Academy of Facial Aesthetics, a member of the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry, the World Clinical Laser Institute, the American Dental Association, and the Chicago Dental Society. He is a nationally recognized lecturer and educator known for his coherent and interactive style. So we welcome Dr. Harnoy. Dr. Harnoy, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Barry. It's on the cusp of winter starting in Chicago, so we're all just like getting ready for what's going to come next. Y'all are very fortunate to live in California.
Yeah, we're here in Lompoc, California, about an hour's north of Santa Barbara. Not bad for sure. Well, you've been with the Smile Discovery program for quite a while. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey with the Smile Discovery program?
I took my first course in 2006 in Keystone, Colorado. And what drove me to the course was my oldest daughter, Grace, was about to graduate from St. Ignatius College Prep, a city high school in Chicago. And she needed her 4 8 incisors, upper and lower incisors, somehow aesthetically fixed. And I was a traditional veneer person trained by LVI, Hornbrook, the whole deal. And I refused to cut her teeth down. So I sought out on the internet, and I didn't realize that DenMat even, I knew DenMat existed, phenomenal products. I've been using Core Paste, Gerostore, this Ultra Bond for a long time, but I didn't know lumineers existed. So my own daughter's need had put me into the hunt to find DenMat and find lumineers. And then I saw a course, we went to the course, and I sat at the course and I understood the concepts, but there was like I had no marketing program at all. No, I didn't know what to do with a marketing program. It's not my strength. I'm a dentist. We got no training in dental school for business or marketing. So they're sitting there talking about this Lumi Smile. You could take a picture of a patient before and after. And it at the first, so they took pictures of the docs and the staff in the room and saw this picture. I thought this is a phenomenal idea. I've never seen that technology before. I've never seen it since. Not like this. I've seen programs you buy and try to build a smile in your office. It takes 45 minutes. My staff's like, we're not going to do this. We're revolted. We won't do this. But in 20 minutes, I can take a picture of somebody and then have the apps have the before and after in a folder. Now it's gone to this very high-tech app that you all developed, which is so cool. But to show them a before and after picture in 20 minutes, it's an immediate emotional connection to what they never thought they could have. And they see this visual cue like, oh my gosh, you can actually do that for me. And it really gets them ramped up to want to see the next step, which is then a consult about shape, shade, smile design, and all my training as a AACD member. And it all revolves around that smile, that picture, that initial picture.
And this is one of Martha, correct? That that really, can you speak to this emotionally invested experience that a patient has when they see what they can look like?
Absolutely, Barry. So Martha, Dr. Martha Jano, a retired Venezuelan dentist, brings her family to Chicago. And she had 2 kids. You'll see in an upcoming slide, Sarah and Modar. But Martha saw the after picture, the before and after. It's like, okay, this is fantastic. And then she researched lumineers. And then what she did was, I'm going to take my 19-year-old, 18, I think Sarah was 18 at the time, and did her upper 8 veneers. Then Modar needed some crown and bridge work done, missing some teeth. We did that. And finally, Martha's like, I had my 2 kids' teeth fixed. I want this because they could see that, and they also understood the technology, because DenMat still offers the only, in my opinion, predictable system for minimal prep veneers, sometimes no prep, that the internet is exploding. It has been for the last 4 years for people seeking lumineer dentists. That's the keyword on the whole search engine is lumineers.
And you were telling me this is Bob, and this is another great example of giving a patient this extraordinary opportunity to see what their aspirational smile could look like.
Bob's like that classic guy you just like immediately. He's in the chair like, I want to see what it looks like. I show him the picture. He goes, I'm all in. This picture has sold me. And his wife and kids switched to our practice because he was so happy how we treated him. So there he is on the left-hand side with his dark teeth. He actually went through Invisalign first to have all his teeth tipped in lingual version to minimize anything had to do to the enamel, which is rare to see people do that, but I explained to him, and he researched this ahead of time and looked for a lumineer dentist in Chicago. But when I showed him the picture, filling his smile back out with a facial profile of 8 upper, these veneers are fantastic. It's lithium disilicate cut back and layered with the feldspathic porcelain. So you get a very high-end aesthetic veneer. But the next slide shows his before and after picture. And this guy has sent me 9 families. They don't all have to need lumineers. I really enjoy getting a family and the kids and continue to build my practice of family dentistry, but you can see the end result. And he just looks amazing. He was so happy every time he comes in, every time. It's been 3 years now since I put Bob's uppers on. He hugs me, he thanks me. You're the greatest dentist ever. I tell everybody in my neighborhood about you, and I'll keep sending people to you. That's a big emotional investment for everybody.
You know what I notice, if I go back to the smile simulation and we can flip back and forth here, I mean, it's just it's just amazing how close you got to the smile simulation. And I'm sure that he really noticed that himself, because this is what he first saw, what he could look like. And now it's real life here.
You're right, Barry. It's a really astute observation. And also look at how his smile on the left is more like a forced smile, a grimace.
Right.
And on the right, this guy is relaxed. He's happy. I mean, the emotional power driving this technology, first with the Lumi Smile to sell the case, and then actually placing the luminaires and delivering what you just said, something that's so similar to what they approved or what they saw with the Lumi Smile, is really a phenomenal concept.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I agree with you. Looking at the smile on the left, on my left, it just looks a little, because you told him to smile,
Right.
and not that it's probably his natural state. And I know on the right, then now we've got someone that probably smiles more naturally as he's going about his business and in his professional life.
Absolutely right, Barry. Absolutely right.
And then tell me about we saw Bob. Tell me about Nicole. Well, here's what are we looking at here, Dr.
So
Harnoy?
take a look for a second. So here's the
Okay.
reality of what DenMat brings to the table. So I'm in a suburb of Chicago, and most towns want the teeth. So it's not just my suburb. People want natural looking smiles. They want real teeth. So that's on the left, his before, an up close non-retracted smile. On the right, there he is. So we ended up doing, I apologize, 10 teeth. We did 4 through 13. They're cut back, they're layered with feldspathic porcelain. The lithium disilicate ramps up near 500 megapascals. Even when it's cut back and layered, it's still about 475. It's super strong. It doesn't chip and crack. It's the evolution of porcelain in this world. And I love it. I would stand behind that. I put that in any one of my double ACD articles I've written for them as in terms of a successful aesthetic smile makeover. Cosmetic being it just looks good, aesthetics means functionality, and the DenMat lab helps me with these cases to get it properly mounted, get a good bite adjustment, and the end result is a very functionally sound aesthetic smile makeover.
When did you employ the Lumi Smile in your consult with Bob?
The first visit, I mean, absolutely right out of the gate. So Bob comes in, he knew we were a luminaire office. He wanted luminaires, but he goes, I want to see what I'm going to look like. I said, Bob, that picture they just took, we'll see it in another couple of minutes. He's in the room. I'm greeting him. I'm talking to him, and I'm kind of getting to know each other. And when I showed him the picture, which was within him, he was in the office less than 30 minutes. That's when he just sat up. It's like, wow, you could do this for me? Really? This is real. This is real, Bob. So wait till you see the end result. It'll be even more lifelike because you can see the depth of translucency, and that cut back layered feldspathic porcelain has a really nice natural look. He wanted a natural OM3. I had other slides when I lecture, and if we put an OM3 shade tab against that, it's the same shade. So I like the predictability of the lab to be able to produce what the patient wants.
In the Lumi Smile design application, certainly allows for the patient to see what they can look like with luminaires, but it can also show them what they would look like with whitening as well as ortho. I remember when I got my first Lumi Smile back in 2010, whitening was that's what it was illustrated for me, and have really worked on that ever since. Well, tell us about. I believe this is Nicole, correct?
Yeah, this is such a impactful, emotional story. One of my, I'm averaging about 75 to 100 veneers a month. It didn't start overnight. I built upon it, but the cornerstone of this technology for me is Lumi Smile. That's the starting point. Nicole comes in, she's getting married in 3 months, and we obviously can roll out the red carpet and get her restored in time. But she was so they have a budget. They're getting married, her and her husband, he's in law school, she's working hard. So she can only afford 4 veneers. And I looked at it and thought, this is not going to go well or look good if we just do 7, 8, 9, and 10. So as a wedding gift, when she saw the Lumi Smile, she went absolutely crazy. She's like, oh, she started crying. She's like hugging me. I can't wait to get my teeth done. And then we kind of get down to the nuts and bolts of it. And she's like, I can only afford 4. So I made my own executive decision to give her as a wedding gift 6 and 11, because I at least wanted to get that cornerstone. I'm more of an 8 or 10 guy, like 4, 8, or 10. But if I could get to 6 teeth on her, she's going to have a really nice smile for the wedding and the rest of her life. So when I did that, they invited myself and my 6-year-old daughter, Isabel, to their wedding. We ended up standing up on the altar in the family pictures, like they just adopted us into their Puerto Rican family. And it was a really powerful moment. Just, I don't know, giving back to my dental community, my patients who I love dearly. And she sent her entire family to me now. They all drive from Mattoon, which is about 2 hours away from Chicago, because they're going to go see Dr. Peter, because Dr. Peter took care of their beloved Nicole.
You know, it's amazing as I listen to you, what I hear is that a lot of these cases the journey starts with Lumi Smile.
It does, Barry. It's the simplest technology for the patients to be able to see something immediately. And the message in my office is so consistent because when we joined the program, which gave me a marketing, like a home run, a marketing program I never had, they have these posters of case types we put up in every single operatory, and the patients, there she is.
Yep, we just want to show that final work you did. It's just amazing.
Thanks.
Again,
Look at her smile. Look at the change. That's a grimace on the left hand
side.
side.
Yeah, right. Forced.
That's a real smile on the right hand side.
Right. I mean, you can see there's two different emotions here, right? One is I'm not confident. I really don't want to smile. And then the other one is just one of joy, right? So she really feels confident about her smile. She's always referred to that aspirational smile that everyone wants, really.
True. And beyond the bride and groom, who are obviously the center of the wedding, my 6-year-old daughter and I are dancing on the main dance floor all night. We were the toast and celebration of the wedding just because of my emotional connection to her and being able to give her something she didn't think she could even afford. And it jacks me up to be able to do something like this. I don't give many veneers away like that, but I just felt in this instance it would be a tremendous asset. And this goes back to her seeing the Lumi Smile. She didn't quite understand. So obviously it's our job, chair side. She thought, okay, all my teeth look great. It's like, no, Nicole, you're talking about 4 teeth. Let me give you the 2. And that's where the whole thing just took off.
Right. Now, before we were looking at Nicole, I heard you start talking about really how your office is set up. So can we talk a little bit about that? Because that's really important because we want to start the patient on a journey when they walk into the office.
Yeah, what you all offered me in 2006, well, there we go. You all offered me this membership and I took it because I didn't have any marketing program. I did my daughter's teeth. It went extremely well. My beloved Grace, my firstborn, it's like, I'm going to get on board with this because this technology works. But I need to send out a consistent message, like a very consistent, clear message. So every one of my rooms, the waiting room is in the lower left-hand corner, and you see the operatories. These pictures sit at the end of the chair when the patient's tipped up in a hygiene room, like the upper left-hand corner, and they're waiting for me to come check them, like Sarah's finished cleaning their teeth. They're staring at this poster. I had Janet McNally sat there. She took a picture of that poster, sent it to her daughter, Taryn, and then Taryn was in our office like in 20 minutes to get a Lumi Smile. She had badly scarred teeth. We did her uppers, we did her lowers. That poster is one of the slickest pieces of marketing. I don't have to sell anything. They look at the case types like, those teeth, I like those teeth. Can I have those teeth? Can I talk to somebody about getting those teeth? And it's just off to the races after a Lumi Smile that they can see what are the possibilities. That poster is fantastic.
And we moved over a photo you were commenting on, which is now we've kind of again going down the journey. The patient has started to see these beautiful smiles that what they could have in your office. They see the Lumi Smile, and now here we are talking about some designs, correct?
Exactly, the actual nuts and bolts of aesthetic dentistry. And this is all staff derived. The staff is the cornerstone of me being able to pull this off. And when Ali talks, she'll really get into that. But I incentivize the staff, every single luminaire that we do, everybody gets a bit of the profit. And they get so involved with the process, they become like close friends with the patients. I'll talk about Jackie and Kathy, how we do this. It's like 78% of my day now we're doing these cases. And it's just a really strong component that ties them together, but we're very precise in our presentation. Also with my membership, I get a little case, a box of 10 Lumineers and a model, and they really want to see this veneer wrap over the incisal edge. We talk about strengthening the teeth. So all the elements of the current technology of porcelain veneers comes to fruition. They can pick their own style. And here's something that DenMat offers. When they came out with art about 2013, they came up with the concept of a trial smile. So every patient gets a set of temporaries based on them, Martha picking a shape right now. I send in some impressions or scans to the lab. They take all the scans and they develop a digital wax up and they give me a matrix. So after I do my little bit of a nano contouring, I bond on a set of temporaries and Martha gets to test drive her teeth for shape and shade. Nobody else offers that. They look at me like, well, I've had 5 consults and nobody's talked about this. So it's just a very in-depth, inclusive program that covers all the bases. It makes me stand out in front of the whole pack. My town is 42 dentists, 18,000 people, 42 dentists. I'm the rock star porcelain veneers in my community.
And again, just pulling out this a theme that what we're doing is we're taking that patient along a journey. So they're walking into the office,
Absolutely.
they're getting exposed to these photos of beautiful smiles. Then we have the smile design, which is now mobile. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then we then we can share with them different smile designs that they can adopt. And then you're talking about the trial smile with the temporaries, which, at that point, they now fully realize what they can become.
They do, Barry. And I
Smile.
tell them up front, you're going to get to test drive your new smile complimentary. Obviously, I don't charge for the temporaries, but I still like to make that statement. You can test drive your new smile complimentary, and you, Martha, get to approve your shape and shade. They've never heard that before. Nobody's ever told them that message. And the wax up is done digitally. It's very precise based on Martha picking. She's picking the functional style in that picture with her finger. It's like, I'd like to start with this.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, let's talk about the economics of providing this opportunity for patients to understand what their smile can be through the Lumi Smile. What are we looking at here, Dr. Harnoy?
Yeah, that's the breakdown of Dr. Jano, Martha Jano from Venezuela. So she had Sarah go first because her daughter, she was actually 19 at the time, getting ready to college. She had chipped teeth. She wanted her to look great for college. So she'd only have her daughter have Lumineers. She didn't want her teeth damaged. So she came first. We did $8,000 Lumineers. And then she was thrilled with how that looked. So then Modar comes in, has about 6,000 at Crown and Bridge. And then Martha turns around as the mother's like, you know what? I wanted to do this, but I want to get my kids' teeth fixed first. And all of a sudden, I've got near $30,000 from that one Lumi Smile that Martha was pointing at the beginning of the presentation. Like, you can really do this. This is real. And she turns it around like that. Like, you can do this. It's like, yes, Martha, I can do that. And I'm really excited for the possibilities.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I know we're going to get to some questions in just a second, but one of the things about the Lumi Smile app, we have this line up here that says, let them share their new smile. And one of the things that the Lumi Smile mobile app does, it allows the patient not only to get their smile design, but they can share it. So now they can share it with friends and family. And we know that extends that emotional investment into looking at the treatment. And any comments? I mean, it's a very, very simple application. Dr. Harnoy, would you agree? I mean, what we do here is we just very simple. It's on the iOS platform, the Apple platform, so either an iPhone or an iPad. And we simply create a profile for the patient. We take their photo, we upload it, and within minutes, they have what their smile would look like, and then that's the presentation, the consult. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, you all raised the bar so high. I just use the millennials. I've got 3 millennial kids in Seattle. As you know, they don't do anything but communicate with their phones. And then it's really cute when you see the aging couples at the airport with little phones texting, but I'll use the millennials example. That's their way to communicate and send pictures and information. So when you all can put it on a phone and they can send it to their loved ones, their friends and family, their coworkers, all of a sudden the message just keeps getting bigger and bigger that Dr. Peter offers this technology, come in for a complimentary consultation, a Lumi Smile, and the traction is phenomenal. So that's the slickest thing I've seen to date. It was printed paper and cardboard copies, but when you change it to this, I thought, oh, this is fantastic.
Great. Well, I think that we have some questions here. Let me get out of the screen share and let's see what we have here. How do you manage patient expectations to what they see on the Lumi Smile to what will be delivered? I mean, sometimes, and there's going to be some variance there, but how do you manage that expectation?
So it's a really good question. So first of all, take a good look at Lumi Smile and make sure, and it's pretty accurate, but we always have to evaluate it because we have to quarterback the case. Look and see the gum line, the teeth, that's a doable situation, and most times it is. But here's what happened when you all brought this AACD, American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry technology into the lab in 2013, and this ART protocol, this additive reductive template. I would encourage anybody who hasn't taken a course to get to a level 1 course and learn how to do this. But you brought in this trial smile. So I look at the Lumi Smile, said, listen, you pick a style guide. You saw Martha looking at that functional style. I like that. I'm going to put a set of complementary temporaries on that you picked, and you're going to test drive it. And you'll come back in a week, and I'll alter that until you like exactly what you see. So it's twofold. The Lumi Smile opens up the door pretty darn close, but you're going to get to test drive a custom smile, and I'll change it till you're happy. Here's the cool part, Barry. You talked about it before. What they see in the Lumi Smile is pretty close with the trial smile because they like that. So I don't have to do a lot of adjustment, but I'm willing to round teeth, maybe make them a little more central dominant for women, less central dominant for men. And then I say to them, when you approve this, the temporaries, then the lab will digitally reproduce what you approved. And all of a sudden I've got all the elements covered. There's no hoping, there's no guessing. It's very precise dental science.
Excellent. How long does it take to a couple of questions here? One, are you happy with the quality of the Lumi Smiles as a design, and how long does it take to get them back?
So I'll go backwards to answer those questions. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes. It's pretty quick, and the staff is rolling out the red carpet to any patient, talking to them, getting to know them, can get you water, get you a seat in an operatory, start to talk a little about maybe about shape and shade. You want bright white teeth, you want a natural smile. So there's no like gap, like we're sitting there staring at the wall, wondering when the picture's coming out. It just happens in a natural procession, and they get the Lumi Smile back in about 15, 20 minutes.
That's fantastic. And with the app, you get notified just like any other app. So as you're going about doing your work, you'll get a notification. That's my understanding, correct?
And yeah, exactly. But you know what they do? They start texting that picture to their entire world. They just like push send to the whole network. And all of a sudden this energy is like, wow, you look great like that. And do you think I could get an appointment there? So when we all went digital with this and viral, that changed everything.
Yeah. So there is a question here, and you know what, I'll take this one, or maybe Eric. Well, you know what, I'll save this one for Aaron. I'll go ahead and state it. How can I set up the app as far as username and password? So Aaron, we come to you. We're gonna talk about that. So Dr. Harnoy, I just always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm gonna ask you to stay on. So as we get some additional questions, we'll come back to you.
Thanks, Barry. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So this is an amazing opportunity. We get to talk with Ali Owen, and let me tell you a little bit about her. Ali was born and raised in Ohio and made her way to Las Vegas in 2013. Not a bad place to live at all, where she quickly found her dental home at Hillcrest Dental. Over the past 12 years, Ali has worn several hats within the dental office, but mostly enjoys overseeing the practice's daily operations and working closely with her team to ensure an exceptional patient experience. Ali is so grateful to work alongside such talented and passionate individuals who share her love for all things dentistry. She recently received her ADA dental coding certificate and is a member of the American Association of Dental Office Managers. So Ali, welcome and congratulations. How are you this
Thank
evening?
you. I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Well, thanks for joining us, because
Great.
you're gonna bring
course.
a unique perspective to this conversation, being a practice coordinator. And so let me get started with a question here. So what are some of the unique challenges initially introducing Lumi Smiles to your practice?
Well, I work with a group of girls that were very strong-willed, and we have systems in place, and we like to do things how we do them. So incorporating just the Lumi Smile into our, patient appointment, that was probably the biggest hiccup in the first. We started right after COVID. And we were printing the photos, we weren't using the app. So we were trying to figure out how we were going to don and doff our PPE and go out of the room, which we soon figured out was not going to happen. So we got a couple iPads, got an iPhone, started, got the app. And then we have a couple team members that aren't the most techie people, but they quickly caught on to the app is very, very easy to use. So, and really after that, we just needed to find a way to be able to have really effective conversations with our patients in regards, we were really worried, how do you bring up, cosmetics to a patient without offending them? How do you even know if they're interested in it? So we put the Smile survey into our new patient forms.
Okay.
And so we use that. We're able to kind of gauge where the patient is at and what they're interested in. And then we have a patient intake form, and we will ask them, what do you like about your smile? What do you not like about your smile? So we can kind of, figure out, where they're at before we start talking about cosmetics with them. So.
Great. And as Dr. Harnoy said, it sounds like what we're starting to do from the moment, or what you are starting to do rather, from the moment that the patient comes into the practice, we're establishing a communication, which is
Yes.
right. So, which we know the Lumi Smile helps facilitate that communication, but it's really important that that communication is established immediately with that patient.
Yeah. And we're effective. I mean, anybody can just talk about, cosmetics or, any dental treatment, but it's how effective you are. And if the patient is, do they believe you? Are they excited? Are you excited? When we get the patient's Lumis back, their Lumi Smile, we're just as excited as they are to go and show them, so.
Yeah. So I know running a practice is challenging, and implementing new solutions is even more challenging, especially in this environment. We're trying to manage so many things, and our external environment's changing all the time. So walk us through how you were able, within that context, walk us through how you were able to make Lumi Smiles part of the daily process in your practice.
Yeah. So, at first, the first thing was just making sure everybody understood what a luminaire was, what made it different from a traditional veneer. A couple of us had gone to a DenMat course a few years ago. We were Quantum Leap consulting clients. So we had, had some training with Dr. Kestner himself. So we had some people that were somewhat familiar, but getting them to understand the process of, taking the Lumi Smile and what the process was of the trial smile, the assistants being familiar with delivering. So just getting them very, very familiar, and what verbiage they would use when they're talking to patients, saying things like minimally invasive. And then being able to establish like our clinical indicators with our team. We have a very, we call it a team-driven practice, meaning that our our assistants or our hygienists are going in and they are talking to the patients first before the doctor comes in. So they're kind of figuring out, again, what the patient's interested in or what the doctor is going to diagnose. So we wanted to establish who is going to be a candidate for a Lumineer case first and foremost. We wanted to make sure that everybody was actively taking their Lumi Smiles, and so adding another thing into the appointment they did not like, and so we had to find a way to track that. We created a dummy code in our practice management software. So that was, the first couple weeks, I'm like, guys, we're only taking a couple Lumi Smiles, so then it was every morning in huddle, how many Lumi Smiles did you take yesterday? How many Lumi Smiles did you take yesterday? And then running that report, we did a lot of role play, a whole lot of role play. And for my team, that was for them. That's what they wanted. They just wanted to feel comfortable talking to patients. So they demanded that from me. And then I think for us, what really just got everything just going after we were all, actively taking the Lumi Smiles on all of our patients was getting a Lumi Champ, or for me, it was, I got Lumineers. So we had the entire team was part of the process, and we had our assistants, come in, and they were all there for the delivery. I joke around, but it's actually completely true. Like, I'm the most difficult patient in the entire world. So, we got to kind of go through the process start to finish. And on some days, I feel like they just kind of push me around the office and tell me to go show my teeth to people. And, I'm happy to do it, because patients, the questions that they ask me, their firsthand experiences, I can tell them. So.
And so just to revisit what you just said, so it sounds like it's an expectation, because we understand, or you understand, your practice understands that there's going to be great outcomes for the patient, number one, and for the practice. So there was the idea about the coding is unique, and thanks for sharing that. I'm sure that some of the other offices on the line here is going to pick that up. And then the other one that I think is really resonates well is to identify a Lumi Champ. How did you identify that Lumi Champ? And then with that said, it sounds like you're taking a lot of Lumi Smiles. So how often does your practice take Lumi Smiles?
Yeah. So how did we identify the Lumi Champ? It was probably between me and another girl. And we were both pretty much at the point, her and I both really wanted cosmetics, but neither one of us were willing to obviously drill our teeth down. And by default, not just because I'm the office manager, but I have a little bit more seniority, and because I do the finances, it just made sense.
Okay.
When you sign up, you get some coupons. So Dr. Kasimi was the doctor here. He was gracious enough to give use those coupons, because I'm getting married in December. So that was his gift to me.
Oh, wow.
So, and within our office, we really just try to have a designated person for a lot of our bigger, we have a designated person for our full arch cases, or for our, sleep apnea. So it's kind of just a, go-to person for some of those, big things. And then who are we taking a Lumi Smile on? Everybody. We're taking one on pretty much everybody. Unless, obviously a few will slip through the cracks,
Sure.
New team members come on, they're not familiar with it, but everybody, not everybody will see their Lumi Smile right away.
Okay.
Some of those we'll kind of put in our back pocket for when we're ready. We do a lot of ortho. So patients that are at the end of their aligners, we are going to take a Lumi Smile on them, because, we can fix their bite, but there's cosmetics that we now want to talk about, which is a lot of the reasons that in the beginning people want to do ortho. So
Right.
Now that we're at that stage, let's go ahead. People that are missing teeth, You know, people that haven't seen their smile, you know, a nice, healthy smile without multiple missing teeth for years and years and years. I mean, they don't even remember what they look like. Whitening, or, you know, ortho. I mean, really anybody. We're going to do it on our recare patients. And again, somebody who might not be interested in it right now, you don't know what their life is going to look like in 6 months. So
right. And that's an interesting comment, and you're absolutely right. And you know, they may not be ready financially, or you know, maybe emotionally. Sometimes we have to check with our significant others to determine if that's the right thing. But the important thing is I think everyone deserves to see what their aspirational smile can look like, and that's what you're providing.
yeah, and you know, to go back to that, to the dummy code that we've created. So like I said, we don't always present it to everybody, but if it is like the end of the last quarter of the year, we will go through, we'll run that report for anybody that has had a Lumi Smile, and then we'll go back and we'll look through on the app, and we'll just send those out, you know, as a little reminder.
Yeah.
If you haven't started yet, you know, it gives you a nice little reference list to go from. So
fantastic. Well, if you, I think you saw Dr. Harnois share the impact that Lumi Smile has had on his practice with one case. Can you talk a little bit about that? So maybe how many treatment plans were accepted once you started engaging with the Lumi Smile, and then why has the impact been in terms of production or to your practice financially?
yeah, so I think we are right around, for every 50 Lumi Smiles that we take, we're getting one treatment plan accepted. Now, again, that doesn't mean that that's, I mean, revenue wise, we're not just starting Lumineer cases. So, you know, it's generating a lot more.
Right.
For us, we, and I tell this story because I just think it was just impossible. I thought it was impossible, but 3 years, we went to a Quantum Leap seminar, and we listened to a single doctor in Arizona, single doctor practice. And he was talking about how he was doing Lumineers and, you know, but general dentistry, you know, and he was doing 300,000 a month. And I thought, there's no way. I mean, well, there's a way, but like, you know, let's see, we'll see.
That's huge. Yeah.
And in August, so we started doing Lumineers October of last year. This past August, we did 300,000 as a single doctor practice, primarily insurance driven. So it's not like we're, you know, all cash, anything like that. Yeah. So
that's simply amazing. That is simply amazing. And congratulations, actually, on two things, for that milestone, but also your upcoming wedding. So congratulations to that. I do want to point out something, because you made an interesting comment. The Lumi Smile is not about Lumineers. You know, it's about treatment acceptance. So even though the patient, you know, we certainly have Lumineers in there to show them what they would look like with veneers, but it could be ortho, it can be implant. I mean, it really, you know, a crown and bridge. So it's not about Lumineers, it's about treatment acceptance. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. I can tell you, we did a Lumineer, or we did a Lumi Smile on 2 of our all on 6 cases. Those people, you know, when a patient that, you know, has been edentulous for a long time, or partially edentulous, when they, you know, when we load that, you know, implant supported denture for the first time, they just get so excited, and it's such an awesome experience. But when they see that Lumi Smile, it's exactly the same. They get just the possibilities for them. So yeah,
Right.
I mean, Lumineers are great, you know, it's a great part of it, but it's just a piece, you know.
Sure. Well, I have one last question for you, and it looks like we have a couple of questions from our audience here, but what advice would you give a brand new office that just started the program?
Definitely take your Lumi Smiles. Don't let up on it. Don't let your team make an excuse why they can't. There's always time in an appointment. DenMat, you guys make it so easy with the app. I mean, there's literally no reason, if you set your goals, once your team starts seeing that, you're getting there, they'll take the Lumi Smiles, no problem. And really just, get your systems in place and figure out, how you're going to do things, and have that ready to go. So you're kind of not just walking into it, blind. And then just utilize all the things that, DenMat has. I mean, the lab support is great. I can tell you, I email the lab manager all the time. She emails me back right away. They're fantastic. Love that. Love the marketing material. I mean, if you can, utilize every piece of it, because you will see it come back tenfold.
Fantastic. I do have a question from our audience here. How long is it recommended for an office manager to spend with a potential Lumi Smile patient?
As far as like treatment planning with them?
I think they're asking for perhaps how long do you spend in that coordination conversation, that treatment coordination conversation?
Yeah. So I will tell you, our team, we do things a little bit different. So by the time, first I've gone in there once to show them my teeth, and they'll ask a couple questions. But honestly, my hygienist and the assistants are doing a majority of the conversations, what we call preheating the patient. So by the time I go in, or any of my benefits coordinators go in, we're really just talking about finances at that point. I think where more of my time with the patient is after, because then we're talking about their smile style. We're getting them set up for their appointments. We're taking photos. And at that point, I will be their point of contact through everything. I'm going to take their photos when they're finished, and I'm going to be their hype girl, in the corner when they're getting their Lumis delivered. So that's probably a majority of it. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Ali, I certainly enjoyed talking to you. It just sounds like your practice is very fortunate to have you as the practice administrator.
Yes.
So great job. Congratulations on your upcoming big event, and thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask that you just hang out for a minute, and as we probably will have some more questions from the audience. So thank you very much. So we're going to shift gears a little bit here and talk with Aaron Tuck. Aaron Tuck is the program lead for the Smile Discovery program. He's been with DenMat for over the last 3 years in sales and customer service roles. Currently, he works with current and new practices and helping practices and their staff implement digital marketing solutions that drive new patient opportunities and case acceptance. So we're very happy to have Aaron join us this evening. He speaks with our SDP members every day, both ones that are in the program and ones that are thinking about the program. So Aaron, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing great, Barry. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you look great.
Thanks.
So how does a practice get comfortable? This is my first question for you. How does a practice get comfortable doing more aesthetic cases?
So I get this question often because a lot of the times we'll do these consultations with patients and we'll show them a beautiful smile. And a lot of times we can get stuck. Ali kind of mentioned there's a lot of other treatment that the patient might need to undergo before we could do lumineers. So the easiest way to answer that question would be just send in the case, whether that's you're going to send in your scans or your impressions. Our lab consultant team will take a look at that case, and then they'll treatment plan it out with you, and they'll explain different treatment plans that you could propose to the patient, or different ways that we can go about getting that finalized result. Another thing that you could do as far as getting comfortable doing aesthetic cases is always attending our classes. So Dr. Harnoy talked about the level 1 classes. We have live placement courses that we teach at least once every 3 months, where we'll have patients in the chair getting their lumineers placed. And that's probably the fastest way to get acclimated doing more aesthetic cases, is being in a classroom setting. You're going to be doing some of the bonding yourself, and you'll be seeing patients getting their lumineers placed as well. So having being present at one of the classes is definitely the fastest way. But if you aren't able to attend a class in person, definitely send in your impressions or scans, and our lab will walk you through the whole process from start to finish.
And if I'm not mistaken, the Smile Discovery program basically allows the doctor to attend those courses for free. Is that correct?
Correct. So
Yeah.
every Smile Discovery member has some form of a discount, if not free tuition, to our classes. We also host all of our webinars like we're seeing right now uh, on a monthly basis. We also post those on our website that you could always go back and see as well. So Dr. Lett teaches all of our live placement courses, and he has a host of webinars that you can go in and attend on our website as well.
Great. I got a few more questions for you. Excuse me. What are some of the other, we've talked about the Lumi Smile what do you hear from practices? You know, Ali's a great example of using that tool very well in her practice, and it has produced some great outcomes for her patients and for the practice. What are you hearing regarding the Lumi Smile with the practices that you work with?
I'm hearing really good things. So it's like Ali mentioned, it's kind of a challenge introducing new things to new staff members or just staff in general. So what I hear is kind of the same thing Dr. Harnoy alluded to as well, in that you present that to a patient. It's the emotional connection that they make, and you're at some degree changing lives when you do those procedures, and when you're treating patients with the different aesthetics that you offer, and not just aesthetics, also any restorative work that they may have been dismissing over the last couple of years, kind of like how Ali was talking about as well. So it's life changing is what have an impact on your patients.
Excellent. And can you briefly, we're coming up on the hour here, so can you briefly talk about some of the other benefits of the Smile Discovery Program? We've spent a lot of time talking about the Lumi Smile. The Smile Discovery Program comes with some other unique benefits. Can you talk about some of those briefly?
Yeah, so some of the other unique benefits would be like the marketing resources tab that we designed
Oh,
specifically
that's
for
right.
our Smile Discovery members. And there you'll find ways to impact your marketing either inside your practice or outside your four walls. So what I mean by that is we have things like the Smile Evaluation Survey, which is perfect for
Right.
any office, whether you're new or existing. And what that's going to help you do, especially if your staff is a little bit more hesitant in identifying patients you want to do Lumi Smiles for, or just to get comfortable with the process, implementing something as simple as a survey, which is the first form that your patients can fill out, is an easy way to identify patients that are comfortable having a conversation with you about changing their smile. Some other things that we put on that marketing resources tab is things like flyers that you could use and put at your local clubhouse if you golf often, or at your local gym. It may sound old school, but it definitely still works. And the great thing about those flyers is they all tie in your practice information and the Loomis Smile. So they'll see that you offer a digital smile makeover, and that gets the conversation piece flowing. Some of the other things that we put on there too to make things easier for you and your practice is specific hashtags that work really well on social media posts. We also add
Yeah.
PDFs that you could upload to your website or for your social posts,
Mhm.
as well as looping videos that you could play in the office to your YouTube page, Instagram Reels, whatever the case may be. You could use those on that specific page.
That's fantastic. Well, we do have a couple of questions as we are closing out for the evening. And actually, for Dr. Harnoy, Ali, and Aaron, I got one for each of you. So, Aaron, I'm
Perfect.
going to start with you. We have a question of which camera do you recommend?
So this question comes up pretty often. So if you want to use the app version, we recommend that you use, I believe, an iPhone 8 or higher, just because of the iOS settings. Any iPhone that you have should do the job just fine, as well as iPads. The tricky thing with iPads is they don't have a flash feature. So we recommend making sure that the backlighting is really bright, or ring lights are another affordable option that you could use and adds that glam factor to your patient's visits. Also, any cameras that you have, any DSLR cameras work. Those will produce a higher quality photo, and there is a way to upload those photos from your computer to the Lumi Smile portal. And if you need help with that, just reach out to me and I'll be glad to help out.
It's fantastic. I appreciate that. So, Dr. Harnoy, this is one for you. The question is, when we receive a preview of the trial smile, would you recommend showing the patient before DenMat prints the matrix?
I would not. You know why? And I went down that path years ago, when I first came out, thinking, okay, I'll include the patient in this. I would say a high number. It's over 90%. Do not know what they're looking at, and they can't properly evaluate it to critique it. So this goes back to them picking the style guide off that sheet that Dr. Jano was looking at, Martha, letting her find one, sending that to the lab, and they'll replicate that very precisely. And then I want to see, they'll send me a digital preview, which is fantastic. Before they ever print the digital wax up or the digital matrix, they send me, and I can alter it. Like, no, let's make 8 and 9 half a millimeter longer. Remember, she wanted that central dominance I saw in the functional style guide. So I have control of that based on what she told me she wanted, based on her picking a selection off of a picture. Or if they don't have a picture, it's a really interesting dynamic. Most of these people have waited their entire life, almost their adult life, for somebody to ask them, what do you want to look like? And it's on their phone. And I've been waiting for somebody to ask them that, so they pull up a file like, here, I want to look like that. I've watched somebody want to be Goldie Hawn's daughter, Kate Hudson, and she showed me pictures of Kate Hudson. I want those teeth. So one of those, either a style guide or some choice they've had on their phone for a long time, but nobody's asked them that question.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. So, Ali, I have the last question for you. I think this is a good one for you. How do you get most of your referrals?
So we do the only marketing that we do is we use Swell for reviews, and everything else is just internal, our patients referring patients. Now we are in the process of expanding, and that's probably why we don't do any marketing, because if you want a new patient appointment, it's going to be 3 months. So, but once we expand, we will start marketing, and we will start marketing for cosmetics and being able, actually, we just updated our website, and we were able to use a lot of the marketing material that DenMat has provided to us to be able to put that onto our website. So, and then obviously there's, we do the marketing that comes with DenMat. So if somebody goes and searches, Lumineers Las Vegas, that we're going to come up obviously there. But
yeah, well, fantastic. Well, I believe that is the end of our time here together. First of all, I want to thank the panelists who joined us this evening: Dr. Peter Harnoy, Ali Owen, Aaron Tuck. Thank you so much. Each of you has some great perspectives on Lumi Smile treatment acceptance. We know it is one of the major pain points of practices, and will continue to be. It's always going to be something to work towards in building case acceptance.